Hi everyone, Daraksha here. So I'm the solution consultant from Adobe, and thank you everyone for joining today. A very warm welcome to all of you. We'll just wait for 2-3 minutes for the people to join in, and really appreciate like others who have joined in on time. So we'll start in a few minutes. So meanwhile, other people join. Just wanted to know a quick round of introduction, and if you guys would like to introduce, like, what is your job title? Have you used any like Adobe application, or which Adobe application you use, and what you are expecting from this session? So that would be really helpful. I think you all should have access to the chat. So if you could write, like, have you guys used Adobe Animate or any Adobe application? Yes, thanks, Ram. So I think you have used Adobe Animate. Perfect. So Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop, any other application, so that I can get an idea, like, what is the expectation, like what's okay. Illustrator. Thanks, Pradeep. Perfect. So I got a response from two people. I think we have more than 30 people. So yeah, Illustrator, Photoshop, almost all. Great. We have some experts, Scanner. Okay, yeah, it's a free application. If someone has not used, then Adobe Scan is a free application. If you want to scan any document and turn it into a searchable document, you can use Adobe Scan. So make sure all of you install it. Okay, we have After Effects user as well. Great. So perfect. I think we have a mix of a audience and all are the creative users. I'll take just 2 more minutes. And have you guys worked on creating these kind of banner ads or like any have did you get any requirement from your marketing team to create those kind of creatives? Stock, great. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for sharing. Yes, always. Yeah. And then you struggle between the designers and developers. Like you design something and then developers has to code it. Yes, banners and web pages. Great. And I'm assuming all of you are designers, or do we have any developers as well? Or any designers who are aspiring to be a developer? Oh, great. Both here. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Designers. Aspiring to be a developer. Great, great. Nice. Yeah, it's really good to have both skills. Like from a degree, I am a computer science graduate, so developer, but now landed to Adobe because of having all those inspiring creative aspiration. So learning to design tools, been here for 7 years, wonderful journey. So, oh, great. I see like Vikshit is also saying, I understand like how those codings could be boring, right? And being a designer and having that development skill really helpful, right? If you are a developer, anyone like okay, what designs are going to work and what is not going to work as output, like many a times, no offense to designers, but I also do this mistake sometime. I create something, then we try to do it from a coding perspective, then those some kind of a gradient. Now the things has improved, and the topic for today, like HTML5 and ActionScript, WebGL, these things has. created a lot of good experience from a designer and from a developer perspective. Oh, Vikshit, full stack developer and non-motion graphic artist. Wow, that's a wonderful combination. I would say deadly combination to have. Yeah, so I think we have a pretty good audience here, and we can go ahead and start a session. So, how many of you know about Adobe Animate? Hands up. Okay, okay. So we have one person, okay, who know Adobe Animate. So, okay, thanks, Vikshit. So, no, what is this Adobe Animate application? And I'm sure all of you have registered for this session. You have some expectation. You want to gain something out of it. And first of all, like again, I would like to welcome all of you. Thank you so much for taking out your time from your busy schedule, being here with us, and sharing your expertise, your experiences, what you are looking from these sessions. And just wanted to do a quick check. Is this time right for you? Does it work for all of you, or like this time, or do you have any other recommendation that we should do the session later, a bit late in the evening or in the morning or over the weekends? So we are open to all because we are doing the sessions for you, and we just want all of you to like make out best out of this session, share your feedback so that we can go ahead and share with our engineering team. And if you have any suggestion, any feedback, feel free to put it on the chat. And with that, I'll start for today's session. So today's session is about like how you can create animated content, how you can create the animation, and how Adobe can help to make sure that those animation, those banner ads, or those interactive document which you're creating in the creative application is seamlessly being handled by the web and by the developers as well. So that's what the agenda for today. And like we got a quick check and we got to know that we have the mixed group of audience. So to the experts, just bear with me because I'm going to start from the basic. It's good to start from basic and make everyone like be comfortable with the application, and just give it a try. I'm sure after this session you all would definitely would like to give it a try. I'm going to teach you very basic stuff from start to advance, and then what are the best practices which you should keep in mind while you're exporting your these ads. So let me share my screen. Okay, so what we are going to do today. So before I start, just wanted to show a quick overview of what we'll be creating today. So first, like I'll show you like how you can create a one basic banner like this, a monster drink banner, monster drink on sale. Like this, you can also create just after the session, even if you have not opened Adobe Animate ever. And to the advanced users, here we have this kind of ads. So most of the time, this kind of ads are required. And what we want users to is when they hover over, it should play some kind of animation, and maybe I want to close it. Once I close, it should go back to the same position. So this is going to be the end goal for today's session, which we'll be creating. And like I said, I'll start from the very basic so that we all are aware about what is the functionality of the application. And I hope you can see my screen. It's visible, right? Okay, great. Thanks, Ram. Yeah. So I hope my screen is visible. Yeah. So here we have Adobe Animate to all the people like who are users of Adobe Illustrator, InDesign, XD, After Effects. It's no, very much similar. The best thing about Adobe application is most of the tools and the interface is pretty similar, like we see in other application. So here we have the simple interface, very similar interface. So if you're new to Adobe Animate, you don't need to worry about it. You'll just get started and you will have all the tools, which is very much familiar to you. So for now, like I said, I'll start with the basic ones. So first, when I want to start, you all would know that while suppose I got this request from the team, okay, Daraksha, you have to create a ad banner for this monster drink, right? What is the first thing which will come to my mind? Okay, let's go ahead and create a new document. So once I click on create new, Here I will have different options. And this is where I just want you to like keep a focus on any application, whether you are using like any application. So what you can do is you can just go ahead and decide for which specific platform like you are requesting like this application or this output to be sent. So whether you are creating a character animation, whether you are creating social media post, whether this like documents or the animation or the interaction you're going to create is going for the game, or it is for the education, or it's for ad or web purpose. Because what it allows me to do is if I click over here web, then like one of you said that you need to create these kind of documents, like web pages. Maybe you want to create a web page design and a layout. Then in that case, once you choose this option, you will get all the presets, right? And similarly, if I choose for the ads, then here I'll get all the presets. And based on that, some settings would change. Like for education, if I'm creating it for and e-learning content, here you see some settings, width and height, frame rate has changed. Similarly, for like ads, the frame rate has changed to 30. So now frame rate is like in 1 second, how many frames I'm going to have. So again, to the people like Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop users, so Animate or the After Effects, these application works on a frame like methodology where you have to decide, okay, how many frames would be played in 1 second. So this is about that setting. If you want, like this is something default, but if you want to go more than that, you can go ahead and like increase or decrease it. And this is the platform type, important addition. So here, what I mean by this important platform type is this, when I choose this platform like HTML5 canvas, then it will give me all those options and make sure that my content is supported for this HTML5 canvas or HTML5 technology. And we also have this option to use action script. For action script, like it's a kind of a no, retired thing, but even if you have the requirement, feel free to go ahead and use action script. But what this recommendation would be to go with HTML5 canvas, because HTML5 is kind of a standard, and all those worldwide consortium keep updating their standards, and HTML5 is like one of the standards which like the currently latest to the web, and we should be creating all the content so that it's up to the standard. And it allows me to add the rich content, like it could be audio, animation, graphics. And once I create those graphics and animation, and once this content goes out to web, I'll be assured that the entire content is compatible with this HTML5 technology. So first I'll start with a blank half page, half, or maybe just start with a half page ad and click on create. So here now this document has opened up, and here is my preset. So maybe like here, if you could see, like this is the kind of interface you'll get. Looks very familiar to like you already been using any other application. So on the left hand side, I have my tools. So selection tool or the scale tool, lasso tool, paint, brush, hand tool, brushes. On the right hand side, we have similar tool panel like swatches, colors. And then here we have libraries, asset, and other. And on the bottom, we have two panels. So this is about, let me bring it a little bit over here. Okay. So here we have this timeline. So what happens in Animate is all the animation or everything happens on basis of a timeline. So I would have a timeline where I can create the animation, define a frame, and then create the animations over here. So what I want to do is first, here I have this specific area where I want to create my animation. So like you would use the term like I suppose artboard in Illustrator, like canvas in Photoshop, or maybe a document in InDesign. Similarly, in Adobe Animate, we call it as a stage. So stage, because like I said, we are creating animation. So stage is kind of an area where artists will perform. So here by default, it is in white color. So maybe I want to like make it, I want to change it, right? So maybe I want to change the width of it to suppose 600, and Let's the height change to again 600, or now it has become square. Maybe I want the height to be only 300. Okay. So here we have a horizontal stage, and maybe I want to change the stage color. Maybe I want to create some night kind of a scene. So I can come over here, I can choose a different color. So now I got this gray color stage, and what I want to do is I want to create certain shapes. So in animate we can create the animation. How we will create the animation? We can create the animation by different ways. So we have different ways to animate the things. So first I'm going to show like how you can animate two shapes, and then I'll show like how you can animate different objects. So first what I'm going to do is maybe I want to create an animation between two shapes. So suppose here, if you could see, I'm onto the layer one. So here like it also works on the similar basis, like layer by layer basis. So here I'm into layer one, and what I want to do is I want to just create a square over here. Okay, let's fill it with something brighter. So it is in red color. And next, what I want to do is once this square, once I come to this area to 30 frames to like what I want is I want to change it to a circle. So here what is happening is my playhead. This is called the playheads. So it's at the beginning, but I want to create an animation for like 1 second. So what I will do is I'll come over here and click on insert keyframe. So now what I'm doing is I'm creating a 1 second animation. And now I got a playhead which plays between this 0 to like 1 second. And we have 30 frames in 1 second. And like I said that I want like here a circle. So I'll come to this like keyframe, and here I will just change the color to maybe let's call it purple, and create a oval shape, right? And here, if you could see, first I'm seeing a square, and then what is happening is I'm seeing a circle, right? So it's not looking that great, right? It's a sudden jump over here. And now I want to create a seamless transition between these two shapes. So what I will do is I'll just come to this like timeline, and here I'll click on create the shape tool. Okay. And now you see like what is happening. So if I press the command and enter, then what will happen? It will open into the browser. And here you see like this kind of animation I can create from the shapes. So from a rectangle, I can see that, okay, it's turning to a circle, and the color is being changed. Automatically that color would be applied. So this is the basic concept of how we can create like this kind of a shape where I want to like probably modify the things. I can have two objects created. I can add the keyframe. So keyframe is like the area where I want something to get changed, right? So here from the square, I wanted it to change to circle. So I created a circle, and then I give it a transition, a smooth transition between these two shapes. So this is about how we can create. And next I'll talk about how we can create shapes to a bit more complex things. So just let me open this file. Yeah. So here I have like these monster, and suppose in this I have two layers. So one is like this widget layer, and here what I want to do is maybe I want to like create a circle on this area. So I'll just create a circle. This wizard is having a circle in his hand, and once he reaches to this 30, I'll insert a blank keyframe. Here maybe what I want to do is I just delete this one from this area. And here I'll select this polystar tool and probably change the color to a bit of a yellow. Okay, and click a shape tool. And here, just duplicate it. Okay. So here what will happen is if I just drag around this circle would change to a star. So suppose you have these kind of characters, you want to just create the basic animation from a shape. So you can just create with these two simple steps. So this is how I create like this basic animation. And next I said we'll create some other animation. Yeah. Okay, so let me start from the scratch. So here what I'm going to do is I have, suppose I created one rectangle and again like this is 600 by 300 and click on create. Okay, and now what I want to do is I have some Illustrator files. So here I have some Illustrator files. So we have a support where you can go ahead and import Photoshop file as well and Illustrator file as well, and then animate it in this application. So to all the people who are using Illustrator, InDesign or Photoshop, it's a really great application to bring in your artwork to life, bring into motion. Even if like you don't know After Effects or these After Effects is like bit of advanced version where you create animation. So suppose this is just a blank like a document and I want to import some of my Illustrator artwork. So I'll come over here. Here I have created some aliens, or maybe just try with some frogs. So I'll bring this guy. And once I click on it, here what I will see is all of the layers which I have created in Adobe Illustrator is presented to me. So the entire layer, entire structure can be like bring in within Adobe Animate. So here I can decide whether I want to retain all the individual parts of this specific character or I want to import as a single bitmap image. So this way, maybe I want to bring in all his parts, right? So here all his parts is there. And now what I want to do is I want to, here I have this person, but I want to create some kind of animation where this guy has multiple copies, he's moving to different places. So now I have this specific object as an image, like as an artwork, but in order to make sure that I get more controls, we need to convert it into a symbol format. So I'll select over here, click over this modify option and click on convert to symbol. For some reason, my panels are opening on the side. Okay, so here, let's call it frog and frog dance. And then make sure that this is a movie clip and click on OK. And now you see that it has changed. There is a circle over here, and this will also get added to my library. So here what has happened is like this frog has this artwork has not been placed because it's an Illustrator artwork. It would be heavy in size, but by creating a symbol, I'll get the option to add multiple instances to it. I could have also gone ahead and copy pasted the different like make different copies of it. But being a symbol, like any one of you, if you've used Adobe Illustrator, there as well, we have the option to create the symbols so that if I want to make changes to this object and make sure that that changes is reflected across all those objects, I can do into the master symbol and immediately that would be reflected. So here I have this first guy and maybe I want to place another copy. I'll just drag it from the library. Let's move it over here, move this guy over here, add another copy of him like this. Okay, so here I have like 4 instances and probably I want to like scale it down the other copies. So I'll press the shift key to scale it down a little bit. Again, here I'll just press and make it more smaller. Here I'll make him much smaller and I'll just change. Okay. So now like I have all the frogs and like I said that why I created it as a simple, suppose maybe I don't like this green color, I want to make changes, I can come over here and I can simply like click on it and then I can select different part and now this frog has opened into one single window. Maybe I want to change something. So I can come over here, I can change the properties of it. Maybe I want to create a smaller version of this frog I can come and then I can go back to my this original, and here based on that all the other instances has been resized. So this is where symbols comes into the picture. But like I said that we have converted it into a symbol. Now we will assign different properties. So for shapes, like I just wanted to that shapes to be transitioned from one form to other. But here I want to create some more animations to it. So for this guy, if I click on this, if I click over here, I'll see that there are several options which are like presented to me on the right hand side. So maybe I do not want to do much with this person. So what I want to do is maybe select this person, and here I can add different controls to it. Maybe I want to change the color of this guy. So I'll come over here. This is a green color. Maybe I want to change the tint of it. So here I'll make changes, maybe some kind of reddish. So, and for this art, no, artwork, maybe I want to try some other things. Like I want to change the alpha, make it more and more opaque or transparent. So I can do certain manipulation. So by creating a symbol, I'll get more controls to make changes to my artwork, to modify it, define different properties to it. Similarly, like I can change the scale and size for this person. Maybe I want him to be completely invisible. So I can come and then make him completely invisible. Maybe you are creating logo and you want to go that logo invisible, like from a very visible to completely invisible. So this is where I have like changed different properties. And now what I want to do is I'll go to this 30 seconds, and here I'll just insert a keyframe. Okay. So I have added a keyframe, and now what I want to do is I want to right click, and here I'll select this classic tween, right? And now what will happen is if I press the command and return, you'll see into the browser. So it will like have some kind of easing in. So like you said that there is no like easing in or fade in or fade out, those kind of information. So here, once I click on the timeline, what will happen is on the right hand side, I'll get this tweening option. So from here, I can select different kind of the easing in and easing out. So maybe I like this one, and let's try this. For some reason, it's not happening over here. But if I open another file, I can show it to you. Yeah. So here, if I go to this timeline, so what happened that if I select over here, I'll be able to modify the path. So probably I'll come over here and modify this path, not to just going with some traditional one. Just try to like modify the path, user defined. So if I select over here and go to ease, here I can also have this custom kind of a ease. So in this, maybe I wanted all of the monsters to go up, and maybe I want to create a new ease. So I'll get this line, so where I'll be able to like modify the line. So probably I want to edit it. So currently I have this kind of animation. Similarly, maybe I want them to go down. Here I'll click on save and apply. So here I'll have those custom ease in and custom ease out. And now if I play this, you'll see like this kind of animation or this kind of ease in or ease out kind of a thing could happen. Similarly, let's try some other thing like the bounce. Yeah. So this way, like with the classic tween, I can apply different kind of ease in and ease out to my timeline. So, and I can also define whether I want to rotate it. So this way I can define, okay, how I want my objects to be rotated. So since I applied a curved kind of a motion and then rotates in clockwise, anti-clockwise, I can define it. And I can also play around with different settings, like whether I want to like scale the content or what I want to do with it. I'll have more controls, and whether I want to orient to the path or what kind of easing I want to apply. So with this classic tween, I'll get more and more control. And here, if you could see, I have also have the option to give it a sound. So suppose if I'm creating this document, creating this banner, and I would like to add sound. So here I have already added it, but just wanted to show like how we can also add the sound over here. So here, since this sound was already imported, so I'll get this option to add it along with my like animation. But if you don't know, like if you want to know how to add a sound, so let's delete maybe. You can go to this file menu, click on import, and then let's create another layer. So here I'm into the third layer and I would like to import any other sound. So either I can import it to library. So again, if you want to import or get different sounds and you want to use it for like your projects, for your professional projects. So in that case, I would recommend going to like Adobe Stock, and there we have a lot of audios also available, because you want to make sure that you are using adobe.com. So you need to make sure that you are using the audio which do not have the copyright. So you have like into the last sessions, we covered about Adobe Stock, how it can be used. So within Animate itself from the audio section. So here we have the audio section. So if I want to use any of those audio, I can come over here, I can search for it, and then I can use it in Adobe Animate project. So for now, I have already downloaded it. So I'll just come over here, click on import, import to the stage, and then here I should have the sound. Where it go? All the files, and maybe it's into some other. Okay, yeah. So I have already like added these sounds to my project, and here. And now if I go ahead and play it, let me share the screen again with the audio, and you'll be able to hear it. And let's delete this layer since I've already added over here. So seems like they are exploding a little bit. So I added this kind of exploding sound. So like this here it was a simple thing. So that's why like you could see those kind of sounds. But suppose if I'm like working on some other banners, so like let me open another file. Yeah. So let's add like create something like this. Like I said that, okay, we will just going to create one banner. So here what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, what I have done is I have already created one layer. So first I created a new document, and then what I did was maybe make it invisible. Yeah. So first I have this layer, and like I said that I'm going to create a monster kind of a drink thing where I would like to add my object. So I'll come over here, click to stage. Here, maybe this is the monster which I want to put in. Click on import. So just press the shift key to scale it down and put it over here. So now this monster is on my timeline. Let's move it a little bit over here. Yeah. So here we have our monster, and what I want to do is once I reach to like this 30-second, at this time I want this monster to appear on my banner ad. So for that, what I will do, just move it a little bit around over here, and then go to and go to this 30 frame, and here I will add a keyframe, right? Because I want something to happen here, right? So here, what I'm going to do is just bring in to this position. So if I go over here, first, this monster is not there in my banner ad. And when I'm reaching to this 30 frames, then this monster is appearing. Okay, here you see like it's kind of a very sudden. And first, what we saw, like we can create a shape tween or a classic tween. So here I'm just going to create a classic tween. So the easing is quite seamless. So now what is happening is once I create this classic tween, it's coming on like very slowly. The easing and the motion is pretty smooth, right? So at this point, this monster will come into the picture. So here, let's add it, called it as a monster because it's important to rename our layers. And next, we would like some text to appear from the right hand side. So like it's always good to have the things on a different layers, and then you put it the things. So here we have the text, and now maybe I want to add text to this banner. So I'm into this layer. I'll just grab this text tool, and here maybe I don't like this color. First change the color to something orange. Monster sale is, I'm just making up some stories over here. Like monster sale. I don't know who would like to buy monster, but we know we have a monster drink. So just come over here and change the size. Yeah. So here is my text. And now what I want to do is like, I do not want this text to appear on this side. I want this text to like appear once this guy is coming into the picture. Then for that, what I will do is first at this point of time, I want my text to appear. So first put it outside from the frame. So like this is the area where your entire animation will happen. So this is why we call it as a stage where our artwork, our text, or all the objects are going to perform, right? And so that is why like anything which you want, you do not want to perform on stage. What we do, we keep it behind the stage, right? So this is what I'm doing here. I'm keeping this text aside, and what I want to do is I want this like text to appear like after certain number of time. So then here maybe at this point I want this text to, so first to go over here, and at this point, let's have this text and come to the other frame, insert another keyframe. At this point, I want this text to come over here. So here, what will happen is this monster will come. It will have some like kind of the blank area, and then again create the classic tween. And now you see what is happening. This text is coming on the screen, and maybe you'd say, okay, I do not want like this specific thing to just appear very quick once this this banner is getting loaded. I'll just come and select this keyframe, select the last one, and then move it a little bit. So now what will happen is this will start coming. So this way you can add some starting area, like some blank area on this areas where I have added blank frames. So it doesn't happen very quickly. But now we have added some like artwork, and we also have some text, and let's play it on the browser. Okay, I think the other guy is also showing up. So let me delete that one. So right now what is happening is other text layer is also coming up. That's why like you are not able to like distinguish between these two layers. So let's try. Yeah. So here, like after a certain time, this thing is coming up from the left, the text is coming from the right. So this kind of animation can be created. Like it was a very simple one, very basic thing. Like you just saw, I just put in some character and I just put in some text to bring in over here. But next I want to talk about like if you are creating something in Photoshop, then how you can bring in within animate, and then you can animate the content further. So again, I'll create a banner ad kind of a thing. So 600 by 200, click on create. So here I have my document. And now what I have done is I have created, designed this in Photoshop. So here I have my entire layer set it up. Everything is there. This ad has been created. So maybe like within Animate, you would get different options to create the shapes and other like element. But if you want to create your artwork in other application, now I have created here. Everything is set up. And now I want to bring in. So all I have to do is click here, import to stage, and then go over here. I think it should be, yeah. And the same, all of those text, all of those layers and everything will show to me while I'm placing this object. But I can also like define whether I want to convert it as an animate layers, or whether I want to use it as a single animate layer or keyframe, and other couple of options, or create a movie clip. Rather than just going and manually creating it, I can just go ahead and check this option to create it as a movie clip. So I just go ahead and click on import. And here you see like what has happened, the entire layer structure. So here I have different icons, so I can just unhide it, hide it. So however I'm working in Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop, entire layer would be carried up in Adobe Animate. And then I can go ahead and individually like maybe manipulate like each of this specific thing. Maybe I want to convert this into a movie clip, so call it as a Facebook symbol. Now I have this Facebook symbol over here. I can go to properties, and probably after 20 seconds, I'll add a keyframe. Okay. And when I'm here, I'll just select it. And then maybe I want to change the opacity of it. So first it was like fading in, and then at this point, this specific artwork was fading out. So currently I have not added the frames to the entire thing. That's why it's not, all the artwork is not showing up. But here I would get more control to add more animation, more transition. And the best part is you can bring in all your layers and all your artwork within like Adobe Animate. So this is how you would like bring in your Photoshop artwork. Similarly, if you have some characters set it up in Adobe like Illustrator, you can simply go ahead, import it. All of that character would come up, and then you can like animate the individual part of that character. And with that, I would like to just add that we also have another application called as Adobe Character Animate. If any one of you is looking for animating the character, then you can definitely try that application. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create that another banner. So these were just some basic concepts which I wanted to talk about, how you can create a shape-based animation, why you should convert it to a symbol, what controls you will get, what is this classic tween, and how you will import the artwork from other Adobe application. And next, let's try to create that another banner ad. Okay. I think something is happening with this video. Okay. Okay. So here, like what I will do is I would have like the similar kind of banner set it up over here. So suppose like with the same, because it's a bit complex. So like these artworks designing would take time. So what I can do is I can have this artwork created within Adobe Illustrator, and then I can bring in Adobe Animate. And next, what I want to do is, so the creation part, you all would know like how the creation would happen and how we can bring into Adobe Animate. And what I'm going to show to you now is how you can add the interactivity to it, right? Because we just saw how we can create the entire animation. But what if you want to, well, you want users to interact with it, how it should get interacted? So we are going to cover that part. So here, like the animation is set it up. So like, let me turn off this layer. Yeah. So here we have the animation set it up for banner, but let me delete it. Yeah. And delete this layer as well, the mask. Yeah. So this was the original, like the banner where I have my entire animation coming up. But like I said, I wanted to play when user hover over this specific area. So how we will create those kind of a mask, how we will like create those kind of an animation. That is what we are going to do now. So let's make it bit bigger. Yeah. So I'll go to this part, and sure, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create one layer, and let's call it a mask, because first I want it to be into a square format, and then it would expand into a bigger format. So here, what I will do is first select this rectangle tool and come over here. Or maybe I don't like this color. First, like take some other color. Okay, yeah, this flow is looking good. Select this square and then drag a rectangle. So you need to like define an area, like what size of rectangle, what size of this banner, small banner you want, since it's an expandable banner. And next, what I want to do is here, now I will just create this rectangle on top of it. And then we have to like create a classic tween, like we have to create that tweening. So it should be a classic tween. Okay. So, and like I said, it's going to be a mask. So how we will go ahead and create a mask out of it. So we need to make sure that like it is a kind of a mask. So at this specific area, I want this specific like square to appear like this. But now I said that, okay, it doesn't need to be a square. It needs, sorry, just a minute. It needs to be into another format, like it needs to be a button. So it needs to be a button in this format. So I need to convert it into a symbol and like make it as a button. So I first select it, click. Sorry about that. I think my screen is acting up a little bit. Click on modify, click on symbol. And here now I'm not going to convert it as a movie clip. I'm going to convert it as a button, because here I want to like apply some transitions to it, because I want people to hover over like this banner in order to like expand or like create it. So now I have converted it to a button, and it's a button now. And right now this specific square is like appearing up. It's not looking that great. So what I will do now is I just select over here, and I want this specific like trigger to be active when users hit to this specific area. So I just come over here, insert keyframe, and now this keyframe has been added. So now what I'm doing is I'm trying to like make sure that this specific area is being hit or it is active when people are clicking over it. So that's what I'm defining here. I'll go back to my scene, and next I'll move to the or maybe some other part. So where I want this banner to like appear fully. So maybe at the specific point to the 50 frames. Here I want this frame to be like appearing. Let's try it this area. Insert keyframe. So here I have the keyframe, and next I want to like just drag the square to cover the full shape of it. So here I want it to appear like this. So now I'll just go ahead and make it as a full banner. So because I want to cover up the entire scene. And next I'll move to this 50 keyframe, where I want this banner to be again like expanded to how it was originally. So here I'll add a keyframe, and then I want to like reduce it to how it was earlier, to the same size. So this is where I can go ahead and reduce it. And now my the entire like flow is set it up. Like this is how first it was square, and here like the maybe the person will hover over, and then it is going to be expanded like this, and then it is going to be come to the original position. So this is what kind of interactions I want. And again here At this point, I want this banner to get closed. One, like people go ahead and select on this specific option. And let's try to play it to see how it is looking currently. So here currently it is playing within animate, but if I press the control and command, then it will go ahead and play. And now I said that I want to create it as a mask, right? Currently it's looking like a square. So I'll come over here and here I'll click on this option as a mask. And now this square has been created as a part of the mask. And what I need to do now, since I want that square area to be act as a mask, I need to bring all other frames inside of that mask. So here, if I see, now this entire area is coming inside of the square, and then it will just go ahead and expand it, and then it will close it. So this is where like I can just go and play around with it. I can create different shapes, how I want like my banner to get like expanded and closed. And next, I want to like, I know we have just 10 minutes, so just want to talk about like how I can add different like different controls to it. So right now we just talked about the animations, right? But I also want to like talk about how we can create different actions to it, because I want this banner to be like visible when so or do certain behave in certain way. Because if I go to the specific banner which we were looking earlier, okay, maybe at this one. So currently it's behaving like how the user want. I can come and close it. But if I do not give this action, like maybe this close button, so once the user is clicking over here, then it's getting closed. So, or once the people are hovering over the mouse, then it is getting expanded. If I want to create this kind of actions or controls to this, then we need to add some interactivity. And for that, we have like this option called as actions within Adobe Animate. So here I'll create a new layer and here I'll call it as action one and window and this action panel. Okay. So here I have this action panel open up. So being a designer, so this application is really like very friendly for the designer. So being a designer, I don't have to like go ahead and write any code. If I want to create some kind of a like action or interactivity to it, what I can do is I can do it like right inside within this action panel, and like it will go ahead and create those actions, and those it will write that code for me. So for now I want to create those kind of actions where people can interact over it. So what I will do is I will just select create an action like layer over here, then go to this action panel, and here I have this visual, so where I'll get this option. So what I want to do is I want to like stop this animation. So I just do not want this animation to play into a loop once this banner is getting loaded. So I'll click on stop, and then I'll click on add to this timeline and click on next. And here I'll get this option because I want this animation to play once people are hovering the mouse. So I'll click on mouse over. And here, like I need to select the buttons. Like we created different buttons. We created a rectangle, first a smaller one, then a bigger one. Like which like mask, which button I would like to play. So here I can add, I want to make it full screen. Once the people hover over this, then it should like go ahead and make a full screen. And here, if you could see what is happening is I'm just selecting certain triggers and automatically those codes are being generated over here. So Animate will go ahead and generate that code for you. So for the first one, I have added this action. So this is how like different actions can be applied. I'll not spend a lot of time, but definitely recommend you going ahead and give it a try. So like start the animation, stop the animation, rotate the object. So you want to have this kind of interactivity, then I'll just go ahead and select these actions to my object, how I want people to behave with it. So here I have added this action where I'm adding like people to go over here. Similarly, if I want to add the action for the another like button, like maybe for this button. So here as well, I can just go to window menu, click on this action panel and add it from the wizard. Similarly, like stop the animation. Once the people click on this stop animation, click over here, click on this timeline, and then I can define like which specific option I want to choose. So this way, like codes could be added. You do not need to spend a lot of time, and you can just create those kind of animation. And once those actions are created, but in order to make sure that those clickable things are happening or working, you need to make sure that it is created as a button. And then because the action works on the buttons, and once it is working on, once buttons are created, then I'll get that option to create the apply. So now like this document has been created, this banner ad has been created. I'll play the command and control. Yeah. So here with this button, this rectangle is invisible. Like I could change the opacity. Here I applied this action to, once I click over here, it should close the banner. Okay, so once my this ad is created, how do you hand it over? So within Animate, if I go over here and click on this publish option, here you will get a first option to publish your work, where I can go ahead and publish it. And then I can export it to different format as an image, as a movie, or some other format, or I can just go ahead and convert it for different platforms, maybe for the action script or for the WebGL or for the other formats as well. But if you want to use this and uh, create in another format, so how you'll go ahead and do it. So we can also go ahead and play around with publish settings. So here if I go, God, why this thing is coming on the left screen? Yeah. So just here to publish settings. So if you would like to know like what kind of settings my document should have while I'm publishing it. So currently you said that it created a file. I can save it as a animate file as well. But once I publish it, here I can change certain settings, like what I can include, the type of looping I want. I want to decide whether I want to export that sound along with this my published document. And there are some other settings whether I want to include the JavaScript as well. So automatically those JS files, other things, JavaScript, everything is being created. And then based on that, I can go ahead and export my file. For some reason, this window is just getting cut off. Yeah. So this was a quick overview of like how you can create some basic animations, and like how you can go ahead and try different settings and then export it out, and how you can use HTML5 canvas to create those animations. So any questions like before we close it? I know it was very quick. Post this, I'll share, or maybe I can share it right now with all of you if you would like to give it a try, because we have Illustrator users as well. So definitely would like them to try some other features. So I'll just share a link over the chat. We have a great tutorials over here. So would definitely recommend, so go ahead and try it out, try these basic animations and other things into your process. Any questions, team? Any? Thank you so much for being such a lovely audience. I know this was a very short, this is just a glimpse of it. If you feel like you want a deep dive and creating everything from the scratch, and any specific use case you would like to know, feel free to put it on the chat, and we're happy to have another session based on that. Or if you have any specific workflow which you want us to cover, because today the idea was to give an overview about how the animated content is supported in Adobe Animate, how you can create it and publish it, uh, and it would be seamlessly supported into HTML5 and WebGL format. But any questions, happy to take it. Okay, or any feedback, or do you think it was helpful? You would like to try, you would like to give it a try? Okay. That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And definitely would recommend to give it a try. Try creating some basic shapes and basic